I think that is absolutely fascinating because of TikTok's status. So remember, it's meant to be shut down. I mean, there was an act of Congress, wasn't there, Sumi? The thing should not be
Yes.
there, and it's been kept alive in a kind of semi-legal way. And everyone has assumed that Donald Trump's kept it alive because he thinks, come the next election, it could be owned by someone in America, maybe Elon Musk, maybe someone else, and pressure could be put on the algorithms to kind of kick it in the direction of the Republicans. We assume it won't be Donald Trump, but whether it's JD Vance or whoever, and that actually it could be a helpful thing. But it's really interesting if Mariana's right that it's sort of been hijacked by the Chinese now in exactly the way that people warned would happen.
It's fascinating. And, to your point about ownership of TikTok, I mean, President Trump has said, hasn't he? I did really well with young people, and TikTok is a big reason for that. And they're very, he's been very candid about that he wants TikTok to stick around. And so they've talked about this 50% model where you'd have a 50% American ownership and ByteDance the other 50%. It's not really clear how that would work or if that would even follow the guidelines of what Congress has actually ruled. But on the other hand, now China has said because of these tariffs, any sort of discussion about TikTok is now off the table. So that puts us back to quote unquote square one, if you will, because we don't know where that negotiation will go from here. But if the Trump administration wants to keep it, and Mariana, what you're describing is happening, I mean, this is going to be quite difficult for them to combat. And I do find it really interesting that when you talk about or even look at some of the polling among Americans here, if they are concerned about tariffs, it's not necessarily the tariffs on China. They see China as a real economic adversary. And from the first Trump term to now, we really have seen on both sides of the aisle this growing distrust of China, specifically on trade, but also on national security, on geopolitics, and so on and so forth. And so when you actually look at the numbers on how Americans feel about tariffs on China, even if those tariffs are extremely high, 145%, there seems to be an understanding or acceptance of it. But at the same time, the Chinese economy and the US economy are so deeply integrated in the terms of the type of products that Americans are used to buying at very low cost. And when you start to look at just how much Chinese goods have really dominated the US market in your everyday store, I do wonder if that opinion will start to change, specifically in your stores like Walmart and such, among low income families who are very dependent upon being able to buy those goods at a low price.